Did you know that certain daily habits can significantly accelerate the natural aging process? Many behavioral patterns that once boosted productivity or provided a sense of security in younger years can subtly undermine one's health, cognitive functions, and independence over time. This phenomenon is rarely discussed openly. By the time people realize its detrimental effects, they often face issues like stiffness, chronic fatigue, and missed doctor's appointments, which can lead to frustration or even embarrassment. This article will explore 6 surprising aspects recommended for people to abandon after turning 70. The reason isn't to follow arbitrary rules, but because shedding these ingrained habits can pave the way for a more energetic, functional, and joyful life. These aren't obscure recommendations or unattainable ideals. They are common behavioral patterns that many older adults fall into unknowingly. Adjusting these habits now can help them regain a sense of wholeness and vitality. The first habit to shed is avoiding strength training. A common mistake people make after 70 is believing that slowing down and reducing physical activity ensures greater safety. This seems logical. Joints might ache more, balance can worsen, and the thought of lifting anything heavier than a grocery bag can be daunting. As a result, many older adults stop engaging their muscles entirely, thinking rest equals protection. However, abandoning strength training is one of the quickest routes to losing independence, reducing mobility, and forfeiting the ability to live life on your own terms. Muscles don't just provide strength, they are the foundation for all life's activities. After age 70, the process of muscle loss, known as sarcopenia, accelerates significantly if you don't actively work to preserve it. This isn't about lifting heavy weights or bodybuilding. It's about maintaining existing muscle tone. Even moderate activities like bodyweight exercises, using light dumbbells, or resistance bands can have a colossal impact. Regularity and mindfulness are key. Every step, every time you stand up unaided, every bag you carry, or item you reach for on a shelf, is possible because of your muscles. Consider George, 82. After a minor fall a few years ago, he began avoiding most physical activity. Fearing overexertion or further injury, he preferred spending time in his armchair, taking only short walks, and sticking to sedentary routines. However, after consulting a physical therapist, he realized inactivity was more harmful than movement. George started with 5-minute strength exercises, standing from a chair without using his hands, lifting soup cans, and practicing balance by standing on one leg at the kitchen counter. Within 2 months, his legs noticeably strengthened, and his confidence returned. There's immense power in intentionally using your body. This isn't just about physical mobility, but also self-worth. It's knowing you can get out of bed without fear, navigate a store without leaning on a cart, or get down to play with a grandchild and trust you can get back up. Physical strength provides these capabilities, and it doesn't require hours of training. Just a few simple repetitive movements can begin restoring what time has tried to take. The reason many don't talk about this is that strength loss happens subtly. It doesn't cause pain, at least not immediately. But you start noticing it in small ways, getting winded faster, struggling with stairs, or needing to lean on an arm to stand. The sooner this process is recognized, the faster it can be reversed. It's never too late to start, and it doesn't require expensive equipment. It only requires deciding that maintaining strength is more important than remaining still. The second habit is eating like you did at 40. A common misconception for many after 70 is believing they can continue eating the same way, maintaining the same portion sizes, meal times, and familiar dishes. This approach feels comfortable, easy, and might have worked well for a long time. However, your body no longer operates on the same fuel system as it did 30 years ago. Metabolism slows, digestion can be less efficient, and nutritional needs change. Yet, many continue to eat out of habit, not hunger. This subtle error can lead to weight gain, sluggishness, and even unnoticed blood sugar issues. Indeed, after 70, every bite of food matters much more. Your body doesn't need as much food as before, but it needs more of the right kinds of food, nutrient-dense, easily digestible items designed to support bone health, brain function, and energy levels. This means reducing large portions of heavy meats, starchy carbohydrates, or processed snacks, and increasing smaller, balanced meals of fiber-rich vegetables, lean proteins, healthy fats, and high water content fruits. It's not about deprivation, but about fueling your body for how it functions now, not how it did 30 years ago. Take Helen, 75. She never gave much thought to her meals, 3 hearty ones a day, as she'd done her whole life. But she started noticing bloating after dinner, energy dips in the afternoon, and her pants no longer fitting as they used to. Her doctor didn't scold her but simply asked her to try something different, slightly smaller portions, more vegetables, and paying attention to when she truly felt full. Within a month, she not only lost weight but felt clearer, slept better, and she said, her mood lifted in ways she hadn't expected. This isn't about a strict diet but adjusting eating habits. Just as you wouldn't wear the same shoes you did at 30, your body doesn't benefit from the same eating patterns. With age comes wisdom, and that includes wisdom about food. Eating less isn't deprivation, it's efficiency. It means giving your body what it truly needs and letting go of excesses that only slow it down. When meals are balanced and intentional, your body responds with more energy, sharper thinking, and a more stable mood. And here's what isn't said often enough: it's okay to have new rules for eating at this stage of life. In fact, it's a sign of self-respect. You're not giving up the joy of food, you're giving yourself a better relationship with it. You're learning to notice what truly nourishes you, what sustains your day, and what makes you feel your best. That awareness isn't just helpful, it's liberating. The third habit is social disconnection. After 70, it's surprisingly easy to slip into isolation without even realizing it. You might go out less, cancel plans more often, or convince yourself that staying home is simply more comfortable. Sometimes it's due to physical limitations, other times emotional. You might feel you have less to offer, or perhaps people just don't engage with you as they used to. So you quietly retreat, telling yourself it's fine, that you enjoy the peace and quiet. But the truth is, social disconnection can harm your health more than you imagine. Loneliness isn't just a feeling, it's a serious health risk. Research shows that isolation in older adults can lead to depression, memory decline, and even an increased risk of heart disease. The brain thrives on interaction, and when you remove that constant engagement with others, your mind can start to turn inward in ways that aren't always beneficial. Conversations, shared laughter, even a simple phone call, all act as mental workouts. They keep your mind sharp, grounded, and emotionally stable, and perhaps most importantly, they remind you that you still matter. Consider Sylvia, 80. She gradually stopped seeing friends after her husband's death. She told herself she needed time, but months turned into years. Her memory became hazy, days blurred, and her motivation plummeted. Her daughter convinced her to attend weekly senior yoga classes, just to have something to do. Sylvia was hesitant at first but went, and what surprised her wasn't the exercise, but the people. Sharing jokes before class, talking about the past week afterward, it brought color back into her life. She hadn't even realized how much she'd missed it. This doesn't mean joining numerous clubs or forcing yourself into noisy events. It means finding small, meaningful ways to stay connected: a weekly phone call with a loved one, a regular walk with a neighbor, joining a church group, or even an online community based on your interests. These small interactions act like emotional vitamins. They nourish your spirit and remind you that you're not alone in this stage of life. And the more connected people feel, the more resilient their body and mind become. The challenge is that retreating often feels safe, it's quiet and predictable. However, there's a fundamental difference between enjoying solitude and living in isolation. One recharges you, the other slowly drains you. Every older adult has so much wisdom, warmth, and humor to share, and people benefit from your presence in their lives, whether you realize it or not. When you reach out, you're not just helping yourself, you're reminding someone else that they're not alone either. The fourth habit is ignoring minor health symptoms. One of the most dangerous habits that can subtly emerge after 70 is dismissing small health symptoms because they seem insignificant or familiar. It might be a slight dizziness, a mild chest tightness, or just extra fatigue in the afternoon. You tell yourself it's just part of aging, you don't want to be dramatic or a burden, and frankly, you're tired of waiting in doctors' offices. So you ignore it. But overlooking small signs can be a big mistake, especially in older age, where early detection often means the difference between a quick fix and a serious condition developing. Your body becomes more vulnerable with age, but it also becomes more communicative if you're willing to listen. Symptoms you once might have brushed off now carry more weight. A little ankle swelling could be a sign your heart needs attention. Occasional confusion might not just be an age moment, but a red flag needing immediate care. And the longer you wait, the harder it becomes to treat, reverse, or manage a condition. Catching issues early doesn't make you a hypochondriac, it makes you wise. It gives you options and control, and those are two things worth preserving. Let me tell you about Walter. He's 78 and always considered himself robust. He disliked going to the doctor and rarely took anything seriously unless he was in severe pain. But he started noticing his vision was blurrier than usual, and a strange tingling in his legs appeared. He chalked it up to age. It was only when his daughter insisted on a checkup that he learned he had early-stage diabetes. Because he caught it early, he managed the condition with diet and activity. But his doctor explicitly told him that if he had waited much longer, it could have become irreversible. You are the expert on your own body. When something feels different, strange, or just not right, you have every reason to get it checked. Not because you're weak, but because you're responsible. Health issues don't always arrive with sirens and flashing lights, they often whisper. And the older we get, the more crucial it is to pay attention to those whispers. Responding quickly can mean shorter recovery times, fewer medications, and a better overall outcome. It also means trusting your intuition. If you feel dismissed or unheard by doctors, you have the right to ask questions, seek second opinions, and advocate for yourself. You've spent a lifetime caring for others. Now it's time to apply that same care to yourself. No one else lives in your body. No one else knows how it feels from the inside. So if something is off, speak up. The fifth habit is relying on memory instead of writing things down. After 70, one of the most common yet underestimated habits is trusting your memory more than you should. You've always remembered birthdays, appointments, and which pills to take when, and for most of your life, it worked perfectly. So you continue to do it. Mentally rehearse your day, remind yourself to call someone later, or try to keep track of medications without writing anything down. But here's the quiet danger. Memory isn't as reliable as it once was, and relying on it without support can lead to small oversights with big consequences. Forgetting an appointment is one thing. Forgetting if you've already taken your medication is quite another, and it happens more often than people admit. You might accidentally take a double dose or miss one entirely, thinking you took it earlier. This one small moment of uncertainty can escalate into serious health issues, especially with blood pressure, diabetes, or pain medications. But here's the truth. Writing things down isn't a sign of decline, it's a sign of responsibility. It's how you protect your future and reduce stress today. Let me tell you about Bill. He's 73 and always prided himself on his sharp mind. He paid all the bills, tracked all the birthdays, and never needed a calendar. But after he missed a specialist appointment and accidentally skipped his morning medication twice in 1 week, he realized something had changed. Initially, he felt embarrassed, as if admitting weakness. However, once he started using a simple notebook system and setting phone alarms, he found he not only remembered more but worried less. He noted it felt like he'd shed a burden he'd silently carried for years. Your brain does far more than we give it credit for, and after decades of life experience, a slowing of short-term memory is normal and expected. It doesn't mean you're failing, it means your system needs support. Writing things down, keeping a calendar on the fridge, using a pill organizer, or setting a few simple phone reminders aren't signs of forgetfulness. They are ways to set yourself up for success, leaving nothing to chance. What often surprises people is how liberating it feels to get important things out of their head and put them somewhere visible. It clears mental space, reduces anxiety, and builds confidence. You stop second-guessing yourself, stop replaying the same mental lists over and over. Instead, you trust the systems you've created, and your mind can finally rest a little. The sixth habit is completely resisting technology. One of the most limiting things people over 70 often do, sometimes without realizing it, is entirely rejecting technology. Perhaps it feels overwhelming, they might have tried and felt frustrated, or they've convinced themselves it's simply not for them. They might say things like, "I don't need all that," or "I'm too old to learn," or "I've done fine without it." While these statements might feel true in the moment, they subtly build a wall between you and tools that could make your life easier, safer, and more connected. Technology doesn't necessarily mean diving into social media or buying every new gadget. It can be as simple as learning to text, using a voice assistant for reminders, or checking your medical records online. These tools aren't just trends, they are lifelines. They help manage medications, stay connected with loved ones, get help in emergencies, and access information in seconds. By refusing to engage with them at all, you're not avoiding stress, you're increasing your dependence on others. Let me tell you about Louise. She's 79 and used to call her daughter every time she needed to check an appointment time or inquire about a prescription refill. Her daughter lovingly helped, but Louise felt increasingly dependent. One day, her grandson showed her how to use the calendar and reminders app on her phone, and how to check the pharmacy website for refills. It wasn't easy at first. There were fumbles, questions, and a few moments of doubt. But within weeks, she found herself doing things independently that used to require 3 phone calls, and she felt something she hadn't felt in a long time: capable. That's what it's really about, not mastering the latest device, but reclaiming your independence. Small victories with technology quickly add up: checking the weather, reading messages, getting health alerts, or even joining a virtual class. These small actions remind you that you can adapt, grow, and stay connected to the world around you. You don't need to be a tech expert, you just need a little curiosity and someone patient to guide you through it. And if you've ever felt shame or embarrassment for not knowing how to use something, let it go.
Everyone starts somewhere.
No one expects you to know everything instantly, but giving yourself a chance to try is what matters most. Technology isn't the enemy of aging, it's a powerful ally. And the more open you are to it, the more doors you open for yourself in return. Concluding thoughts. Take a moment to reflect on what has been discussed. Which of these habits do you recognize in yourself? Which one surprised you? After 70, the rules of the game change, but no one provides a new manual. That's why it's so easy to fall into habits that seem safe but slowly erode your health, independence, and peace of mind. But here's the truth: it's never too late to change direction. You don't need to overhaul your entire life overnight. Simply recognizing these 6 potentially detrimental habits and being willing to take even one small step towards changing them can bring significantly more mental clarity, vital energy, and inner confidence. Whether it's intentionally increasing daily physical activity, thoughtfully adjusting your diet to current bodily needs, or finally seeking help from someone to learn a new phone. All these actions signify not falling behind, but a desire to move forward consciously and with clear intention. The aging process doesn't mean retreating or giving up an active life. On the contrary, it symbolizes an ascent, enriched by accumulated wisdom that should be used to make the rest of life easier, stronger, and more joyful. While these habits might seem minor at first glance, every conscious choice made for your well-being is a powerful statement that you still matter, that your time still counts, and that the most beautiful chapters of your life continue to unfold.